CNN entertainment correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister is here with more on her exclusive reporting. Elizabeth, tell us what you're learning.
We have learned from two sources that potential witnesses have been contacted and notified by federal investigators that they may be called to testify.
Sean Diddy Combs was once on a path to becoming a billionaire, but that story has taken a dramatic turn. As allegations against him continue to grow, allegations he has denied, his business empire has suffered major setbacks, longtime partners have distanced themselves, and the public scrutiny only continues to intensify. Now, with federal investigators reportedly contacting potential witnesses and new lawsuits emerging, the legal pressure surrounding the music mogul appears to be reaching another level. Since CNN released surveillance footage involving Diddy and Cassie, the controversy has only expanded. Additional footage, combined with an increasing number of civil lawsuits, has brought even more allegations into public view. These cases include claims ranging from financial misconduct to other serious alleged offenses. As more evidence and court filings become public, the situation has become increasingly difficult for even Diddy's strongest supporters to ignore. One of the most recent lawsuits was filed by former adult film performer Adria English. She alleges that she was first hired by Diddy in 2004 to work at his Labor Day white parties, and that, over time, she was groomed into trafficking. According to the lawsuit, her first year working at one of the Miami parties appeared to be a legitimate job with no inappropriate expectations or physical demands. Encouraged by that experience, she returned the following 2 years. However, English claims that everything changed during the third event. According to her complaint, Diddy allegedly learned about her background in adult entertainment and demanded that she engage in sexual acts with party guests. She also states that many of her memories from that time are unclear because she was expected to consume large amounts of alcohol and drugs. Despite that, she says the abuse she allegedly endured was so traumatic that those experiences remain vivid and continue to affect her to this day. Another lawsuit was filed by April Lampros, who accuses Diddy of multiple incidents spanning several years. She says she first met him in 1994 while attending the Fashion Institute of Technology, where he allegedly promised to mentor her and showered her with gifts. According to the lawsuit, the first alleged assault occurred in 1995 at a hotel. Months later, after receiving more gifts and flowers, Lampros says she decided to give him another chance. She alleges that a second incident later took place in a parking lot, where Diddy allegedly forced her to perform oral sex. She also claims that in 1996, he forced her and one of his former girlfriends to take ecstasy and engage in sexual acts while he watched. According to the complaint, the final incident occurred near the end of 2000, when Diddy was dating Jennifer Lopez. Years later, at a 2023 event, Lampros says someone told a person she was with that they had seen a recording of her with Diddy that had allegedly been filmed without her consent. Just 2 days before Lampros filed her lawsuit, model Crystal McKinney also came forward with her own allegations. She claims she met Diddy during New York Fashion Week when she was 22 years old. According to her lawsuit, he promised to help advance her modeling career before inviting her to a recording studio later that evening. There, she alleges he gave her alcohol and marijuana before following her into a bathroom and forcing her to perform oral sex. McKinney further claims the incident effectively ended her modeling career, leaving her with severe depression and eventually leading to a suicide attempt. Then there's the lawsuit filed by music producer Rodney Jones Jr. in federal court. Jones alleges that Diddy recruited him in 2022 to help produce music for an album, but says the job quickly became much more than producing records. According to his complaint, he was allegedly instructed to obtain drugs and recruit sex workers. Jones also claims Diddy threatened him with physical harm if he refused to comply and alleges he was subjected to unwanted sexual contact while being forced to continue working. Another lawsuit, filed anonymously by a woman identified as Jane Doe, alleges that she was trafficked and sexually assaulted when she was just 17 years old and still in high school. According to the complaint, she met former Bad Boy Records president Harve Pierre in Detroit, who allegedly introduced her to Diddy. She claims she was persuaded to travel to New York on a private jet before being taken to Diddy's recording studio, where she alleges she was given drugs and alcohol and then sexually assaulted. Both Diddy and Harve Pierre have denied those allegations. In another case, Liza Gardner filed a lawsuit against Diddy and R&B singer Aaron Hall, alleging they sexually assaulted her when she was 16 years old. She claims she met both men at a Jodeci album release party before being invited to an after-party at Hall's apartment. According to the lawsuit, Diddy allegedly coerced her into having sex with him. She further alleges that after the encounter, Aaron Hall entered the room and assaulted her. Gardner also claims that the following day, Diddy came to her home, assaulted her again, and choked her until she lost consciousness. That same day, another lawsuit was filed by Joy Dickerson-Neal. She alleges she met Diddy while appearing in one of his music videos as a student at Syracuse University. According to the complaint, she agreed to go to dinner with him in January 1991, where she claims he intentionally drugged and sexually assaulted her before secretly recording the encounter. Days later, she says a male friend told her that multiple people had watched the recording. Dickerson-Neal claims the incident sent her life into a downward spiral, leading to severe depression and hospitalization after returning to college. As these lawsuits continue to emerge, they paint a picture of allegations spanning decades. While many of the claims remain disputed and will ultimately be decided through the legal process, the growing number of accusers has kept the spotlight firmly on one of the music industry's biggest and most closely watched legal battles. Entertainment correspondent Elizabeth Wagmeister joins us with new developments in a story that continues to grow. According to sources, federal investigators have contacted potential witnesses and informed them they could be called to testify, signaling that the legal scrutiny surrounding Sean Combs is far from over. A newly filed lawsuit adds another serious allegation to the growing list. Former adult film performer Adria English claims she was drawn into a trafficking situation she never agreed to, alleging that Combs gradually groomed her over time. Combs has denied the allegations, but the number of claims being brought forward continues to attract increasing public attention. Not long ago, Combs appeared to be on the path to becoming a billionaire. Today, as lawsuits continue to mount, business partners have distanced themselves, and the value of the empire he built has taken a significant hit. Many believe the story is still unfolding. Even 50 Cent has entered the conversation, selling his documentary about the controversy to Netflix after a competitive bidding war, highlighting just how much interest this case has generated. The public spotlight intensified after CNN released surveillance footage showing Combs and Cassie in a hotel hallway. Since then, additional footage and a growing number of lawsuits have only increased the pressure. The allegations span everything from financial misconduct to far more serious claims. As new court filings emerge, even some of Combs's most loyal supporters have found it increasingly difficult to dismiss what's unfolding. Among the latest lawsuits is one filed by Adria English, who says she began working at Combs's now infamous white parties in 2004. According to her complaint, the first year seemed like a legitimate job with no warning signs or inappropriate expectations. She returned the following year and again the year after. But English alleges that during her third year, after Combs became aware of her background in adult entertainment, everything changed. She claims she was pressured into sexual encounters with party guests. While she says heavy alcohol and drug use during that period has left some memories unclear, the experiences she does remember remain deeply traumatic. Earlier this year, April Lampros filed her own lawsuit against Combs, accusing him of battery. She says they first met in 1994 while she was attending the Fashion Institute of Technology, where Combs allegedly presented himself as a mentor and showered her with gifts. According to her lawsuit, she experienced 4 separate incidents between 1995 and the early 2000s. She alleges the first occurred at a hotel, followed months later by another incident in a parking lot after deciding to give him a second chance. She also claims a third incident in 1996 involved Combs and one of his former girlfriends, with a fourth occurring around the end of 2000. Years later, in 2023, Lampros says someone approached her at an event claiming they had seen footage of her with Combs that she alleges was recorded without her knowledge or consent. Just 2 days before Lampros filed her complaint, Crystal McKinney came forward with her own lawsuit. She says she met Combs as a 22-year-old model during New York Fashion Week after he allegedly offered to help advance her career. Later that evening, she claims he invited her to a recording studio, where she was given marijuana and alcohol before being assaulted. McKinney says the alleged incident effectively ended her modeling career and led to years of depression, including a suicide attempt. Then there's the lawsuit filed by Rodney Jones Jr. in federal court earlier this year. Jones alleges that he was hired in 2022 to help produce music, but claims the work quickly expanded into obtaining drugs and carrying out other unwanted tasks. According to the lawsuit, he was pressured to comply under threats of violence and alleges that the environment surrounding Combs operated more like a racketeering enterprise than a legitimate business. Another lawsuit, filed anonymously by a woman identified as Jane Doe, contains some of the most serious allegations. She claims she was trafficked at the age of 17 by Combs and former Bad Boy Records president Harve Pierre. According to her complaint, she met Pierre in Detroit before being flown to New York on a private jet. Once she arrived at Combs' studio, she alleges she was given drugs and alcohol before being assaulted. Both Combs and Pierre have denied those allegations. Liza Gardner also filed a lawsuit in late 2023 naming both Combs and R&B singer Aaron Hall. She alleges she was assaulted when she was 16 years old after attending an after-party following a Jodeci album release event. Gardner further claims that the following day, Combs came to her home and physically assaulted her. That same day, Joy Dickerson-Neal filed her own lawsuit. She says she met Combs after appearing in one of his music videos while attending Syracuse University. According to her complaint, she agreed to a date with him in 1991, during which she alleges she was drugged, assaulted, and secretly recorded. She later learned, she says, that the footage had been shown to other men. Dickerson-Neal claims the experience caused severe emotional trauma that ultimately led to hospitalization for depression. The response from within the music industry has been revealing. Some artists argue these allegations reflect a culture of exploitation that has existed for decades, where executives who promised to change the industry ultimately repeated many of the same practices they once criticized. Others say they're not surprised at all, describing an environment where stories of controlling and abusive behavior had circulated for years but were often ignored or dismissed. If it seems like these allegations appeared overnight, the legal filings tell a different story. Civil lawsuits and investigative reporting point to claims stretching back decades, portraying the current controversy not as an isolated incident, but as part of a much longer pattern connected to Combs' white parties and other events throughout his career. At the same time, 50 Cent's documentary, produced through G-Unit Film and Television, has found a home at Netflix after multiple platforms reportedly competed for the rights. Throughout the controversy, 50 Cent has continued commenting publicly, suggesting the story is far from over and saying that if additional accusers come forward, more episodes will follow. Archived interviews have also resurfaced, with people connected to the industry describing years of alleged warning signs, including stories of violent behavior, unexplained injuries, and an atmosphere where many people were aware of troubling allegations, but few were willing to speak publicly. For now, the legal battle continues to evolve. New lawsuits continue to emerge. The upcoming documentary is expected to bring even more attention to the case, and the full scope of the allegations is still being examined through the courts. What do you think happens next in this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video informative, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.